All right. Let's get started. So, in our last video, we kind of went over principles and philosophy with the post-screen interview. Now, today we're going to be doing a deep dive into our post-screen interview script, and we're going to break it down line by line. This video might be a little bit more than 20 minutes, so just throwing it out there. But let's go ahead and dive in. So, this is our post-screen interview script. This should all be shared with you guys. And so, we're just going to break it down line by line as well. So first line is you're just going to call them on the phone and you're going to say, hello, is this whoever it is? And you're going to say, this is, and I have my name highlighted right here. You guys would obviously say your name. Calling from Vector, calling for your interview today. How are you? Right. And then the next line is going to be, I just got your application and I had a chance to review it. Is right now a good time to talk? So we want to make sure that we read this line and ask them if it's a good time to talk, because if they're out and about and if they're like driving, or if they're like, you like hear kids screaming in the background, or like dogs barking, or like they're like it's like windy outside and they're like outside, they're not going to pay attention. They're not going to give you good answers. And you can always reschedule a post-screen interview call. I'd rather them be at home with pen and paper in hand, ready for the interview, versus them out and about. So don't hesitate to be like, yep, I'll call you back at a different day, different time, different day, different time. Almost just died there, but whatever. Anyway, so then the next line you're going to say is, perfect. I just want to give you a rundown of how this call is going to go. So first, I'm going to give you the chance and opportunity to ask me a couple questions, and then I will ask you a couple questions, and then I can give you that definite yes or no decision if you were accepted to the job or not. How does that sound? So what this does is this lays out kind of the format of how the post screen is going to go. And for people that are in the interview process, they'll get really nervous and really angsty if they don't know what to expect next. So when you kind of lay out the agenda of how the call is going to go, they kind of have a mental roadmap of how things are going to go and how things are going to flow. So with the next line, you're going to say, hey, with that being said, do you have any questions for me about the job? And then you're going to answer all questions. So you want to answer questions to the best of your ability, but keep it as simple as possible. So if they ask you, how does the pay work? Say, hey, we have a $25 base pay along with commissions. And then if they have a follow-up question, dive in a little bit deeper. Or if they're like, oh, how does schedules work? Hey, you get to pick and choose your own schedules. Part-time reps do anywhere from 7 to 10 appointments. Full-time reps do anywhere from 15 to 20 appointments per week. And just keeping it like super simple, because they haven't gone through training yet. They don't know like about they don't know about the flexibility, the scholarships, the whatever, and like they don't know as much as we do. And so what we have to do is we have to break down the job and make it as simple as possible when you're answering all questions. And then we're going to dive into our interview questions. So the first question that we're going to ask them is, we're going to ask them if they were able to watch that 25-minute long position description video. Now, it is so key and so important that every single person watches that 25-minute video, because it explains how pay works, how schedules work, and what the job is. If they didn't watch that video, how are you going to answer the questions about the job if you don't know what the job is? So if they didn't watch the video, tell them to watch the video, and that you'll call them back. And most people do watch the video. Very rarely does that happen, but it does happen. And then you're going to ask them, what did they like most about this job opportunity? And as they're talking, you want to write down things that they liked so that you can accept them for a genuine reason. So if they really like the flexibility, if they really like, hey, what I put in is what I get out, the opportunity to gain new skills, the opportunity to learn sales, whatever it might be, you want to know what they liked most about the job and play towards their likeness and their strengths. Next, you're going to ask them, you're going to say, hey, where'd you go to high school? Where'd you go to college? And were you involved in any sports or clubs? So this is a really important question. We already have this information because we asked for it in the application. Sometimes people put like high school, they'll say like yes, or like college, they'll put yes instead of putting the actual name of it. So that's when you can ask about their high school or college. I always like to frame it in the sense of like, hey, I see you went to Fountain Fort Carson High School, or hey, I saw you went to Pine Creek High School. What year did you graduate? Oh, awesome. Congratulations on graduating. While you're at high school, were you involved in any clubs or sports? And this is just a chance and opportunity for them to brag about themselves and their extracurriculars. When you get to talking about college, like, hey, I see that you go to UCCS and you're majoring in engineering. What do you want to do in the future with that? Do you want to build houses, cars? Do you want to build bridges, whatever it might be? You just kind of ask those follow-up questions. Next, you're going to ask them, do they have access to a laptop or a computer at home, or do they have access to a laptop or a computer? If they do not have access to a laptop or computer, they cannot do this job because they cannot do virtual demos and they cannot do our virtual training. So they will need to have access to a laptop or a computer. You would stop the interview right here and just say, hey, call me back and reach back out when you have access to a laptop or a computer, and we'll get you finished with the rest of this interview. Then you're going to ask them if they're familiar with Zoom, ask them if they're comfortable talking on the phone, and then ask them if they have access to reliable transportation. We want people that are close. We want people that can drive to our office, and we want people that can come in person for things. You guys all know how much more fun in person is than virtual stuff. Virtual is a necessity, like a back burner. It's like a safety net. So if they don't have access to a car, or if they don't drive, whatever it might be, this is like push comes to shove, then you set them for virtual. But if they have access to reliable transportation and they live close to the office, I want them in person for training. Next question is, as you learn from the video, you start off by showing people you are most comfortable with. So who would you do your first paid practice presentation for? Now, this is an important question because this helps you get a gauge on their names list, and this sets up the names list building activity, right? So you can give examples. So the example I always give is like, if they're like, oh, like I have to start with people that I know, I'm like, yep, you have to start with people that you know, because there's no cold calling, no door-to-door, no telemarketing. For example, I showed my mom. My mom recommended me to her coworker, Becky. Becky recommended me to her cousin, Christy. And when I called Christy to do a presentation with her, she already knew that I was calling because Becky told her that I recommended her. And then she was like, how do you know Becky? And I was like, oh, Becky actually works with my mom. And she's like, no way, that's actually my cousin. I was like, whoa, no way, small world. So what this does is this kind of just helps set up the names list portion. And if they're like, oh, my buddy Jack, who's 18 that lives down the street. Okay, cool. Who else would you show? Right? Asking that question of like, who else? We want to make sure that they're thinking about Mac customers and that they start saying people like mom, dad, aunts, uncles, neighbors, coworkers, family, friends, whoever it might be. We want them thinking about Mac customers. Then my favorite question of all time in our entire interview is, why would you be a good fit for the job compared to another applicant? This is where they get to brag. This is where they get to show out. This is when we talk about the impress me factor. This is where they get to impress you. So then they can say, oh, like I'm very motivated. I work hard. I've done DECA, I've done this, or whatever it might be. This is the chance and opportunity for them to brag about themselves and sell themselves, which is pretty cool. And then next is, how will this job help you in the future? I love this question too, because this question sells themselves, right? I don't have to sell them on it. This job will sell them on it. So if I'm like, hey, I'm a business major and this job will help you in the future because now I'll actually learn how to run a business. Cool. Now they just sold themselves on it. Why do I need this job? Because I need to learn how to run my own business. So they do the hard work for you. And in this section right here, they'll talk themselves into wanting to do the job. The next section right here, this little paragraph, this is the value building section. So if we talk about value building on pages 8 and 9 of your guys' demo in your script, when we talk about the importance of sets, other companies, and the why Cutco so much better, and kind of like getting to asking for the order, this is that value building page for us that will also pop a lot of fear bubbles and build value in what we do. So you're going to say, I like to pride our office on 3 things. First is our product. We've been the #1 most sold kitchen knife in America for the past 60 years. We sell $200 to $250 million worth of product every year as a company, and people are buying and selling now more than ever. So that line is important because it lets them know that we're #1, lets them know that we've been around for a long time, and that we sell millions of dollars worth of product every year. And a lot of the people are going to be like, oh, wow, like that's a lot. Like I didn't expect that. And they're like, wow, like I didn't know that you guys are selling that much, which we are. And that's how much we do on average. So it just helps build that conviction into the sales aspect of things. Next is the programs. We can take people who have 0 sales experience and turn them into selling machines. We also have programs in place for personal development and advancement opportunities. So this is going to be another key part in building value, because a lot of people that are coming to us, they have no sales experience, or this might be their first job, or they might have worked other jobs before but don't have that sales experience. A lot of other jobs require experience before they accept you or even do an interview with you. So this is going to be super important part, just to let them know, like, hey, we will teach you everything throughout training. So let's get you set for training. It kind of has that mentality to it. And then when we talk about systems for personal growth, development, and advancement opportunity, you guys all know because you guys all went through the advancement opportunity. It's going to be super important. Advancement super important to people. USA Today put out articles like the top 7 things that people look for in a job, and it was advancement opportunity was like in the top 2 or 3. Next is personal development, talking about team meeting, how we talk about personal growth, how we talk about habits, schedule building, relationship with yourself, journaling, those types of skills. People want that personal development as well. And then lastly is the culture. So culture wins. You do work for yourself, but not by yourself. We have a team aspect with everything that we do and a great support system put in place for all of our representatives. When someone joins our team, they're not only joining our team, but they're also joining a tradition and a culture of success. So what this does is this pops the fear bubbles. A lot of people are going to say, oh, I've been in such toxic work environments in the past. I want to be in a healthy, awesome environment. And a lot of you guys know, because a lot of you guys had other jobs before. Other jobs suck. So working here, we have that support system. We have team meetings. We have PCs. We have advanced trainings. We have that support system in the group me to help all of our reps. And joining a tradition of culture and success, we're in Rocky Mountain Division. We are the #1 division in company history. We've won more silver cups than anyone in company history, and we plan on winning a lot more, right? So they're joining a culture of winning, a culture of success, and kind of that tradition. People want to join the winning team and they want to be a part of the winning team. So this just lets them know that, like, hey, this is our culture, this is our environment. And this is also really good for people that are a little bit shy and a little bit nervous, who aren't as extroverted, because it lets them know that they're going to have those systems in place and it's not like too overwhelming and it won't scare them. Now, for people like us, we hear this and we want to jump on it right away. For the people who are a little bit nervous, who are a little bit timid, it's a good like first baby step. So you're going to read those 3 back to back and build value. And then you're going to say, with that being said, on a scale from 1 to 10, how enthusiastic would you be to join the team? And then you're going to say, tell me why. So if anyone says anything less than I would say less than an 8, it's because they have something in their mind that's holding them back from really wanting the job. So when you ask that, tell me why, that's when you get to handle objections. That's when you get to handle, like, if they're nervous about getting people to see, if they're nervous about doing sales, nervous about whatever it might be. There's a million examples. This is where you kind of get to pop that fear bubble and kind of dive in deep to what that person is really like holding back and nervous about, and then handle that objection. Once you get that answer, whatever it might be, you're going to wrap up and you're saying, hey, and this starts the close, and this starts the acceptance process. So you're going to say, do you have any questions for me before you wrap up? Now, we ask once at the beginning and once at the end. At the beginning, people want to feel like they're smart and they don't want to be perceived as dumb or that they don't understand something. But after you get them talking and build that rapport, build that relationship, and kind of talk about who we are a little bit and get them talking more, they're much more open to asking questions. So you want to clarify anything that they want. A confused rep will never show up to training. A confused rep will never sell, and a confused customer will never buy. Right? So what are we doing here? We are providing clarity and giving the opportunity to ask for clarity. And then this starts your close. So you're going to say, thank you for being upfront with me, whoever it is. I truly feel like anyone can succeed with Vector if they have the right attitude and work ethic. With that being said, we don't have positions just for anybody right now. We are taking more applications than we ever have before, and we really only want to bring people on who we know are going to be successful and be a good fit for our team. But a couple things that stood out to me about you is that just speaking with you in this brief period, you've given me a really good first impression and you've presented yourself well. And I really like, and then you're going to talk about them. So what this section does right here is we don't want just to hand out jobs. We want them to feel like they earned it. So far they've gotten called, they watched the 25-minute video, they filled out the application, they just answered all of our questions, but we don't want to feel like we're just like handing out jobs to people. Like, it's not like Oprah, where it's like, you get a job, you get a job, you get a car. We want them to feel like they earned it. So if you decide not to accept someone because they don't have an American social security number or they don't have a laptop or a computer, this would also be a good spot. Just be like, hey, I don't think that you'd be successful because one, you can't even legally work here because you don't have American social security or you don't have access to a laptop or a computer. When you get that, I think that you'll be a much better fit because you'll have the proper equipment, whatever it might be. So this is a spot where you can also use this as a negative and be like, hey, I'm not accepting you for the job. Or you can use it as a pivot and kind of use it as a transition into like, hey, but you actually really impressed me today. Here's what I really liked about you. Now, I always like using 3 things and 3 genuine things, right? Highlight their strengths and echo their responses. So it's like, you're definitely the type of person who goes all out in everything that they do. You have past experience with talking with people. I know you're the type of person to dive in head first with your personality, with your work ethic, with your past experience, with your attitude, with your confidence. I think that you'd be a great fit. And then I have some pre-built reasons to accept people. So if they're an athlete, using the athlete approach of like, hey, you're an athlete, they're our best representatives and they succeed at a high level here with Vector because they have incredible perseverance. They never give up and they get knocked down. They always find a way to succeed because I know you were so successful in basketball, soccer, lacrosse, football, hockey, whatever it might be. I know you're the type of person that never settles for anything less than your best. Is that true? And they're going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, that is so me. Like that, like, I feel like you already know me. And it builds that familiarity. And then if they're super smart and they pick things up quickly, you can read the academic one. If you're having kind of a hard time because the person was very quiet, you can read like the generic one and try to make it genuine. If you have someone who's a little bit older, like a non-traditional rep, not someone who's in high school or college, you can use the non-traditional acceptance. But I usually like saying 3 things about each person that is good and why I think they would be a genuinely good fit for the position. And then you're going to pretty much close and ask for the order, right? So you're going to say, for those reasons, I'd like to offer you the position today. How does that sound for you? And this is where people are going to get really excited. They're going to be like, yes, like, thank you. Like, I didn't think I got the job or whatever. And this is when people are going to get really excited. So then you're going to say, congratulations, welcome to the team. How do you feel? And they're like, I feel great. This is awesome. And then you're going to say, do you have a pen and piece of paper? Let's get you set up for training. And as they're grabbing a pen and a piece of paper, so for you guys will read this section right here because this section is, you guys aren't going to be running training. I'm going to be running training. So as they're getting the pen and piece of paper, you're just going to say, hey, you're going to be running training with Trey McCullough. He's awesome. He's trained hundreds of reps to be successful. There's a reason why our office is the best in the country, and it's due to the high level training that they go through. And this is where you pretty much just get to hype me up because they're doing their interview with you, but they're going to be doing training with me. And it'd be really weird and awkward if they like came to the training thinking to do training with you and then I'm there, right? So just make sure that you let them know who's going to be running their training, which is going to be me. So once they have a pen and a piece of paper out, you're going to accept them for training. So you're going to say, take out a pen and piece of paper. I'm going to have you jot down some quick info for me. Let me know when you're ready. So training is this Thursday and Friday from 11 to 7 and Friday from 10 to 5. You do have to go to both. It is a part 1 and a part 2. Do you have a scheduling conflict with either of those 2 days? Now, I'm kind of speed running through this because I want to make this video under 20 minutes, but when you're reading these out and picking a time and a day for them to go through training, I even put it right here. You want to go slow so that they can write down the dates and the times, right? So you're going to be like Thursday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And you're going to hear them like scratching on their pencil, like the pen scraping into the paper, or you're going to hear them say like, okay, cool. All right, what's the next day? You're going to be like Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whenever our training day is. So I'll be like Thursday the 9th, Friday the 10th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You want to make sure that they write it down on a pen or piece of paper because if they don't write it down, they will not be there. And then you're going to ask, you're going to say, hey, are you wanting to attend in person or virtually? And then they're going to ask you, they're going to say, where's your office at? Our office is located near Harrison High School, near the Broadmoor World Arena. We're on the same exit as both of them. So at all costs, try to get as many people here in person as possible so that they can get their sample kit, their scripts, and their blue books and do the presentation and the demo in person. Our office address is 2860 South Circle Drive, Unit 303. So just make sure that they know that they're coming in person and where to go with that. And you guys know the importance of having people come in person. So once they have a good date and time, and it's a great time for them to go through training, not just a good time, but a great time, you're going to have them start writing down some kind of tips for training. So you're going to say training starts right at 11 a.m. If you could join the Zoom or be at our physical office at 10:45, that would be perfect. 15 minutes early is on time, and on time is late. We just want them to be there early. And then in preparation for training, you will need two things. So the first thing is I want you to brainstorm a list of at least 30 people that you can do a paid practice presentation for. These are people like mom, dad, aunt, uncle, your friends' parents. And then you can also throw in more examples too. So like, family, friends, neighbors, old babysitters, whoever it might be. You can just kind of rattle off some names and some names of people. And then you'll end it with just anyone over the age of 30. You'll need their name and phone number. We talk about it all the time in marketing and in sales, like who's your target market? Who is your product meant for? For us, it is meant for people that are over the age of 30 and like to eat food. And that will really help us set up MAC customers because that they have a list of 30 people over the age of 30. When they come to training day one phone gym, they're going to book demos and they're going to make sales. So it starts setting them up for success in the interview so that when they get to training, it's going to be a lot easier for them to have success. And then you're going to incentivize with some free stuff. So you're going to say the minimum assignment is 30, our good reps come in with 40, and our best rep the minimum assignment is 30. Our good reps come in with 40. Our best reps come in with over 50 plus. If you do come in with over 50 plus people's names and numbers that are over the age of 30 on your list to training on Thursday, you will win a free ice cream scoop or a veggie peeler for free just for going above and beyond and showing me how hard you can really work. And just the incentivizing of that stuff. And I order them for them all the time. So all of you guys probably got ice cream scoops and veggie peelers. So that's just an incentive for them to come in with more and kind of shoot above and beyond. The second thing that you'll need is a notebook. Training does go by quickly and there's going to be a lot of information. So you're going to want to take notes. So this is going to be important because we are very note heavy throughout training, right? So make sure that you guys are getting those, having something to take notes on. And I always say just like something to take notes on or a pen and paper. Some people take notes on their laptop, their computer. So yeah, just whatever they take notes on. And then you're going to kind of wrap up and kind of firm up the appointment, just like we firm up in our scripts. You're going to say, hey, I'll shoot you a text when we get off the phone with all the info we just went over with, along with the Zoom information, and an email and a call on Wednesday. So if you could shoot me a text back as soon as you get that, that'd be awesome. So we're going to send them a text message with all the information and their training date and time. And then on Wednesday, this is setting up the confirmation call for the next step in that rep life cycle. So we're setting up the next event. We're just letting them know, hey, we're going to call you and send you an email on Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. And then this right here is a fear bubble popping sign. So a lot of people are going to be nervous to do this type of job. They're going to be nervous about what their friends think, about what their parents think. So you just want to give them some ammunition to kind of tell their parents and their friends and family about the job. So you're going to say, when you go home to talk to your friends and family about the job, if they've heard of Cutco, they'll be really excited for you. If they've never heard of Cutco, they might think that you're a little weird for selling knives over the internet. And then you're going to do like a little laugh and they'll start laughing like, yeah, we sell knives. Like, it's funny, right? So like, hey, if they've never heard of Cutco, they might think you're a little weird for selling knives over the internet, but don't worry, once they see it, they'll love it and they'll be your biggest supporter. And then right here, I put two examples of like, my mom was super supportive. You guys know the story of Anna Wakefield. She was not very supportive at the beginning, but ended up joining the team and selling $20,000. So I just say, hey, give it 2 weeks. So if they're like, oh, I'm not sure what my mom's going to think, I'm not sure what my friends are going to think, you can use personal examples as well to kind of pop those fear bubbles. And then you're say in the text, there will be some link to some articles about who we are as a company. You can share that with your friends, family, or your parents. And if they still have questions, have them give me a call. I love talking to parents about the job. I've been doing this job for the past 4 years. I've only had 2 parents actually call me about the job, and both of them were okay with it after they were talking with me. And most people are like, hey, can you call my mom real quick? And like, I was like, cool, yeah, I'll talk to her, like whatever. So it's just kind of popping that fear bubble and building that comfort with the parents as well. And it's good to like let the rep know who's going through the interview that you're in their corner and that you'll talk to their parents for them. Because some people might be a little bit scared or intimidated to talk to their parents about the job, right? They might be scared of what they think and they don't want to disappoint mom or dad. And you are the one that's going to fight that battle for them, not them. And then you're going to wrap up saying with that, like, hey, that's all the information I got for you. Do you have any other questions for me? And then you're going to answer any questions about setting up for training, any questions about names list, any questions about anything that we went over. And then you're going to shoot them this text message. All the highlighted parts are parts that change. So like the dates, the times won't change, but the dates will change. And then obviously your name will change. So it just says, hey, this is so-and-so with some info for you. Your training days will be these days. Here's our office address. Here's our Zoom link. Here's the link to some article with some more information about us. And then just kind of leaving them off with 2 reminders of saying, hey, make sure you come to training with that list of 30 people's names and numbers that are over the age of 30 and something to take notes on. Let me know if you have any questions. I can't wait to work with you. So even though that we still say it in that text message after the interview, just we want to say it twice, right? We want to put that emphasis on like, hey, make sure like it's important, right? And this phone call should take about 15 to 20 minutes. And so it's a lot of information and we go through a lot of things quick. So you're going to want them to write it down and you want to shoot them a text message. So that is a breakdown of our post-screen interview script.